In the auditorium, the school president, Irina, is giving a speech while all the students listen to her attentively. Amidst the crowd, a young man named Saoji is sitting as he looks at her magnificent twin tails. He praises them to be out of this world and bow in front of their glory. He looks to his right side and finds another girl with twin tails and nicknames her Strawberry Twin. He then glances in front of him and finds another cute girl with twin tails, so he names her Innocent Twin. Then he looks on his left and finds his childhood friend, Aka, but he makes no comment on her even though she has twin tails. After glancing at all the twin tails, he heads back to the most superior of them all, which is the president's twin tails. He sings poetry to praise them. After praising them, he thanks God for allowing him to get admitted into such a school with such great twin tails. Later on, in the class, the homeroom teacher asks all the students to write club ideas they want to create or join pre-existing ones. Our hero, who seems to be sleeping while lost in his dreams, is woken up by his childhood friend who gives him the paper to fill up as the time is running out. He quickly fills in the information and hands it to the teacher. The teacher briefly goes through all the forms and finds one without any name written on it. Saoji realizes that it must be him as he is in a hurry to submit the form, so he raises his hand and informs the teacher that it is him. The teacher reads his form and finds out that he has written a Twin Tails Club on it. She looks at him weirdly and wonders what's going on inside his mind. The other students look at him weirdly too, which causes Saoji to get embarrassed as he tries to hide himself in a hole. Later, Saoji and Aka are on their way home when she teases him for writing a Twin Tails Club on the school form. Saoji begs her to stop as he is already embarrassed enough, which makes Aka bully him even more. She even teases him by flaunting her twin tails in front of him, which aggravates him and leads to a fight between them. However, Aka is well trained and easily dodges his attacks and even manages to hit him a few times. To save himself from embarrassment, Saoji tells her that he went easy on her just because she is a girl, but this is not going to work on Aka, who knows that he has been slacking on his training and scolds him. She also advises him to continue his training over at her grandfather's dojo so he is better equipped with fighting skills. Just then, Saoji's mother drops by and praises their friendship. She also invites Aka over for dinner as she teases him for being so close to her son. This makes Aka blush as she meekly nods like a chick pecking on seeds. After she leaves, Saoji asks Aka why she is red, which infuriates Aka, so she once again starts to bully him for being obsessed with twin tails. While the duo are bickering with each other, an unknown white-haired woman seems to be stalking them. Later, in an unknown dark alley, the Strawberry Twin seems to be running away from something. She seems panicked and out of breath but still doesn't stop. Meanwhile, our duo has just finished their food as they talk about the Twin Tails Club. Unlike before, they seem to be very serious about it and think of a way to make this plan come true. Just as they are talking, the unknown white-haired woman seems to be staring at them while reading her newspaper. Saoji informs her that they are closed today, but the woman pokes a hole through the newspaper and keeps staring at them. Saoji panics and starts to play with Aka's twin tails to relax. Aka stares at him, so he stops and lets them go. The unknown woman pulls out a little device from in between her melons and smirks as she comes close to Saoji and asks if she can sit beside him. Saoji doesn't have any problem, so she sits anyway and stares at him. Seeing her huge books, Saoji is captivated, which makes Aka jealous, so she asks the woman what's her deal. The woman looks at Aka and then at her flat chest and smiles while calling her a mistress. This offends Aka when she gets hyper furious and lashes at her. Saoji stops them from fighting and asks the woman for her identity and the purpose of coming here. She tells him that her name is Turul and that her purpose is to give this bracelet to him. She shows him the bracelet and wants him to wear it, but Aka suggests Saoji not to as it's very suspicious and can lead to bad stuff. However, Turul tries to act like an innocent girl and even offers to give him anything he wants. Saoji looks at her beautiful, fluffy, and bountiful hair and wonders how she would look in a twin tail. Too early mistakes his actions and presents him with her beautiful, fluffy, and bountiful melons for him to touch, but Aka stops her and asks her to not do lewd things to her childhood friend. Turul is getting tired of their nonsense and realizes that their time is up, so she pulls out her device and pushes some buttons on it, which takes them to another location. Aka recognizes the place and realizes that it's 20 minutes away from their house, and yet they reach here in seconds. She looks at Turul as if she's a monster and asks who she truly is. But before Turul can say anything, their eyes fall onto Strawberry Twin, who is knocked unconscious, and even her signature twin tails are gone. This upsets Saoji, so Turul explains to him that if Saoji refuses to wear the bracelet, all the twin tails in the world will disappear. This makes Saoji shocked and he doesn't want such a thing to happen, so he agrees to wear the bracelet. Just then they hear screams of people and find a bunch of alien lizard-looking beings attacking humans. They capture girls with twin tails and some energy balls and steal their love for twin tails using their machines. Turul informs them that these aliens are called Eleminians and that they vow to eradicate all the twin tails in the world. The Eleminians attack people and continue to capture anyone with a twin tail. They even get their hand on a young girl with twin tails, but the Eleminian lizard boss finds her too cute and asks his subordinates to arrange a sofa for her as he drowns her with soft toys and plushies. Just then, an Eleminian informs Lizard's boss that they captured the ultimate twin tail and brought it back. Lizard's boss looks at Irina and is memorized by her twin tails, so he decides to take them from her. However, Irina asks them to stop what they are doing and orders them to let go of the little girl as well. However, the lizard boss asks her to shut her mouth up and steals her twin tail with their technology. Seeing this, Saoji is extremely enraged and asks Turul how to stop. She points at the bracelet on his wrist and informs him that the solution relies on. She taps the bracelet and activates it, which transforms Saoji into a girl with twin tails. Saoji looks in a mirror and finds himself very cute. He stands in front of the Eleminians and asks them to stop their shady activities and restore all the twin tails that they stole. However, the lizard boss is lost in Saoji's twin tail form and doesn't listen to his yapping. Saoji tries to get his attention, so he finally pays him some attention and explains that they are doing it for their sacred lord. This leads to a fight between both of them as Saoji finds out that his transformation has granted him immense powers at the cost of his gender. The fight goes on for a while as they both use their ultimate moves, but in the end, using the power of the plot armor, our hero is successful in defeating the lizard boss and his minions. He then destroys the device which restores all the twin tails. Irina wakes up and looks at her savior who saved her. She asks for Saoji's name, so he tells her to call him Red Tails as he is currently in his twin tails form. Irina asks him if she will ever meet him again, so he responds that if fate allows them, then they will meet in the future. After Irina leaves, Saoji's transformation comes to an end as he reverts to his original form and falls unconscious. Later, he wakes up in his room. He checks around and finds himself lying down on Turul's lap. He seems to be enjoying the sensation of her soft and pillowy thighs, but he has more important matters on hand, such as his transformation and the reason why he became a girl during that time. He barrages Turul with a lot of questions, so she asks him to stay calm and relaxed. First, she tries to make out with him, but before she can make any moves on Saoji, his chastity protector, Aka barges into the room and separates her from Saoji. After fighting for a while, they calm down, as Turul finally comes up to the main topic. Meanwhile, in a place far away from them, the Eleminians hold a meeting to discuss their new greatest enemy, which is none other than Saoji's other version, Red Tails. They discuss Red Tails in great detail as how immaculate she looks and her twin tails, which can be considered the ultimate in the world. From her petite structure to her gorgeous-looking eyes, they seem to be in love with her. However, their head boss asks the fox boss and turtle boss to calm down as they can't just fall in love with their enemy. Their goal on this planet is to eradicate twin tails, not to love them. Back at our main hero's party, Turul explains to them about the Eleminians and their goals. She informs them that the Eleminians are alien creatures who invade other worlds and absorb their love attributes. According to her research, there is a great power stored inside the love attributes that they feed on and survive. She also explains to Saoji about his transformation and how he managed to transform into a girl with twin tails. She believes that it's because of his love for twin tails that led to such transformation. Saoji is both excited and confused, so he asks her why they only love twin tails but not other love attributes. However, even a knowledgeable person like Turul isn't able to answer this question, but she believes that there might be a specific reason behind it. Saoji also asks her about the lizard boss and how he seems to have a love for dolls. However, shortly he corrects himself and explains that it was love for little girls holding dolls. Although it's a creepy obsession, it isn't anything related to twin tails at all. Turul once again explains that even she doesn't know the answer to all of the questions and deduces that it might be related to the love attribute thing and that all aliens might not be on the same page. On the other hand, the Eleminians are also discussing ways as to how to defeat such a mighty foe. Their leader asks his subordinates, who are lost in debating as to what would suit Red Tails the best. One of them says that Red Tails would look best in a maid cosplay, and the other one wants to see her in a swimsuit, while another one wants to see her in bondage gear. This infuriates the main boss, so he asks them to silence and decide the outcome by engaging in a battle against the Red Tails. Back at Saoji's house, they are still discussing the twin tails as Turul keeps on making moves on Saoji, which infuriates Aka, so she punches her and kicks her. Poor Turul keeps on tolerating her violent behavior and instead comes back to Saoji's question as to why he became a female. Turul thinks for a while and answers that it might be that he likes men. However, Saoji rejects this, so she suggests that it takes a best man to become a best girl. But this causes Aka to lash at her for stealing jokes from Giguk's channel. Turul apologizes for the plagiarism as there is no such thing on her planet. Aka wonders how would the Japanese react if they found that copyright laws don't exist in Turul's world. Saoji coughs and asks them to come back to the real problem, which is that after defeating the lizard boss, he found this gem on his body. He shows the gem to the ladies, which attracts their attention as it's a really pretty gem. He asks Turul about it, so she answers that it's the crystallization of the power within the lizard boss. Hearing this, Saoji tells her how he saw a projection of a doll when he first got this crystal. Turul explains that he must love little girls holding on to toys. But this confuses Eika, and she asks then why would he steal their attribute. According to this, won't he be disappointed when the little girls aren't able to hold on to stuffed toys anymore? Turul is also confused about this matter and explains that elephants often can be very paradoxical. On the topic of eleminions, back in the headquarters, the turtle boss and fox boss seem to be playing games as they compete with each other. Their boss oversees them playing games and seems to be quite intrigued. Back at Saoji's home, Turul also tells them about herself and how she is also an alien from a different planet. According to her, their planet was also raided by eleminions and they suffered crushing defeat under their hands. Fortunately, she managed to escape and started looking for ways to fight against them. Saoji gets emotional after hearing her speech and decides that he will fight and protect the twin tails of all the worlds. He even vows to restore her planet too, just like he restored twin tails of Irina the other day. However, Turul explains to him that sadly it's not possible as the time limit to revert the damages is only 24 hours. Saoji is disappointed and expresses his regret, but Turul doesn't mind and instead asks him to protect other people so the same tragedy won't ever repeat. However, they all are unaware that Saoji's mom has been listening to them and seems to be quite excited. Inside the room, Turul is telling Soji and Eika about building a base beneath the building so they can have a base of operations where they can discuss how to defeat their nemesis. Just then, Saoji's mom barges in and interrupts their conversation. Saoji gets shocked and becomes fearful as he asks if she heard anything. She explains that she heard everything and how he is the famous tail who everyone is talking about on the TV. She also tells him how it's been a long time dream for her. She always wanted a daughter who would become a celebrity, so when he was born she was very devastated. Although she wanted to have another child in this economy, even raising one child is extremely expensive. She curses capitalists for ruining the world and continues with her explanation of the dream. She even allows Turul to build a base beneath the house and gives him all the permissions to make moves on Saoji whenever she wants. This makes Eika very angry as she complains to Saoji's mom, but instead, all she gets is a deep sigh and a look of endless disappointment. She expresses her grief at how she gave her all the chances, but she still failed to take Saoji's virginity. She would have taken her son's virginity if not for the fact that it's morally unethical. So that's why she leaves this matter to Turul, who seems very interested in her son and even has those childbearing hips to give birth to beautiful grandchildren. Turul hugs her and thanks her for allowing her to do the honors. Saoji's mom is extremely satisfied after seeing her horniness for her son and gives her a thumbs up. After she leaves with Turul to cook up some food for dinner, Eika warns Saoji to beware of Turul as she still hasn't completely told them about herself, and she seems quite shady, especially with a tech like twin gear. Saoji wakes up after struggling to sleep the whole night. He opens his eyes and finds Turul, who wants to give him a good morning smooch, but before she can do anything, Eika comes in from the window like a cat and kicks her right in the face. After tugging her in a blanket and securing it with a rope, they get ready and head to school. However, there he finds that Red Tails has become very famous and quickly became the diamond in everyone's eyes. Some boys even jerked off to her Rule 34, which makes Saoji feel regret as he used to do the same to his favorite anime characters in the past. Later, everyone is called to the auditorium by the school president, Irina, who gives a speech as to why Red Tails is the greatest woman on this planet. She even expresses her crush on her, which makes poor Saoji even more depressed. This also causes Eika to tease him even more, who seems to be enjoying this whole drama. After school, Saoji and Eika are walking back home when suddenly a huge projection appears in the sky as the eleminions confess their true identities as the disciples of God and tell their ambition to the world. Saoji, who is watching them from below, gets enraged and swears to destroy them so Twin Tails will continue to exist on this planet for eternity. Just then, his bracelet rings, which is a call from Turul. She tells him about an eleminion appearing in a high school a little further away from them. She gives them the coordinates and requests Saoji to take care of them. She also gives him the code to transform into his Twin Tails form, which he uses to transform into his cutie patootie form and flies away to fight against the eleminion. After a while, he arrives at the location and fights against the eleminion and protects the Twin Tails that he loves very much. The girls notice him and start to ask him for pictures, drowning him with their bodies. Poor Saoji wants to escape, but there is no escape for him aside from giving in to these crazy fangirls. After escaping from the thirsty girls, he comes back home where Turul has already finished her project and takes them beneath the house to showcase the entire base in its glory. They head inside through an elevator. She then guides Saoji, his mom, and Eika to give a thorough tour of the entire secret base. She showcases the technology as she flexes her intelligence, but she is ignored as the group is too busy looking at the wondrous technology of another world. She coughs and asks for their attention as the group is pulled out from their fascination and becomes embarrassed. Turul informs that although the secret base is enough to perform all the necessary operations, the real problem lies with the amount of twin-tail fighters they have. Even despite having extra twin gears, Turul still hasn't managed to find a suitable candidate. She did find one, but too bad she is a bad apple who is extremely violent and can't be trusted with. Just then the whole base starts to ring as Turul heads to her main control system and presses some buttons that showcase the eleminions on the screen. Saoji realizes that it's hero time or heroine time in his case and immediately transforms to teleport to the location of the incident. For some time, Saoji alone takes on all the missions and protects people from the terror of the eleminions, which grants him a lot of attention from the media all around the world. He has become a celebrity in everyone's eyes, and wherever he goes, countless eyes follow him. One of them is the school president, Irina, who is a crazy fan of his and a person with a huge crush. She is watching all of his videos on multiple screens when a question arises in her mind, and she asks her secretary about the request that someone put up to create a Twin Tails club in the school. Her secretary answered that it was put on hold as no one agreed to become an advisor for them. Irina thinks for a while and then asks her secretary to bring that form over to her later on. Meanwhile, Saoji enjoys watching his videos all over the internet, which makes Eika angry as she feels jealous of other girls for touching him so close in the videos. Saoji tries to explain that it's not his fault and the fact that he is in girl's form in the videos, so technically it is not. Trying to cope with the reality, both Saoji and Eika accept this answer and move on. Later in the secret base, Eika complains to Turul that Saoji is being weird and is slightly becoming a narcissist as well. Too Early tries to calm her down as she explains that it's just a phase. And instead, she showcases the live footage of Saoji going into the bathroom, which makes Eika blushes as she asks Turul why the frick does she even have cameras in the bathroom. Turul doesn't answer her question and instead informs her that Saoji has been asking her questions as to what would happen if he tries to take off his suit during transformation. This makes Eika imagine all sorts of scenes inside her head as she tries to talk to Turul about how morally wrong it is to watch someone in the bathroom, but her expression and eyes tell a different thing. However, they are disappointed when Saoji transforms into a girl, and instead of touching himself or doing anything weird, he just plays with his twin tails. The girls look at him through the camera with a weird glance as they can't believe that a man can be this dense. Turul notices Eika playing with her twin tails too and asks her if she's jealous, which makes the already furious Eika even more furious as she is about to punch her. Turul has already prepared an anti-Eika bot, but that doesn't work either and she gets her ass beaten up. Later, she is having lunch with Saoji when she complains to him about the violent, flat-chested gorilla who is always beating her up. As much as Saoji wants to say skill issue to her, he holds back as Turul has done a lot for him. They are casually chit-chatting when suddenly Turul's emergency alert rings and informs her of an attack from the Eleminians. The group heads downstairs to the base and confirms the location as Saoji transforms into his cutie patootie form and teleports straight to the location. Saoji opens his eyes and finds himself in a flower field where an Eleminian has already been waiting for him. He greets Saoji as if he has been a long-time lover and expresses his fanboys for him. Saoji is creeped out by this Eleminian and asks him to introduce himself as he doesn't look like your average Joe. The Elimination introduces himself to be the Fox Boss and informs Saoji about his goal of capturing him today. Saoji asks him to cut his creepy act and informs him that he is tired of beating their asses daily and needs a well-deserved break. Saying this, he takes his stance as he pulls out his blade. The Fox Boss notices the cute ribbons on Saoji's tail red form and expresses his love for them. Saoji is once again weirded out by their fetishes, but remembers that he is weird for having a fetish of twin tails in the first place. The Fox Boss is also excited to fight him as he pulls out his weapon, which is none other than a ribbon too. He throws it towards Saoji and captures him with it. But Saoji isn't so weak either and breaks free from it, but he still finds his ability very creepy and decides to stay cautious the next time. The Fox Boss pulls back his ribbon and stares at Saoji as if he's a gem and gets even more excited. He shapes the ribbon into a special form and starts to crystallize his love for cute ribbons and imbue it into his weapon. Turul is also watching this all happen from the base and alerts Saoji to beware of the upcoming attack. Saoji becomes even more cautious and prepares for a huge attack, but instead of attacking with the ribbon, the Fox Boss just shapes it into a clone of Saoji's tail red form, then proceeds to tie it with a ribbon with a cute knot. If Saoji wasn't already creeped out, he gets goosebumps this time. He asks the Fox Boss if he copied his power or something, but he informs him that he didn't copy his power and that the tail red in front of him is just a mannequin. However, it's a one-by-one perfect replica of the original one, which gives him the pleasure of touching her inappropriately. He even creates the illusion of him doing suspicious things with the mannequin, which grosses out Saoji, who begs him to stop violating the poor mannequin. However, the fox boss is unhinged and too biased to stop as he continues his violation. Saoji isn't able to watch anymore, so he decides to act up, but just when he is about to attack, he notices the perfect twin tails on the mannequin and can't help but not attack it. Even though the thing in front of him is just a copy, he still can't attack such a beautiful girl with such outstanding twin tails. The fox boss is also surprised as he